Collector K9. Moody, you too?
We're not live yet.
We are live now.
There we go.
He just got their head in the chat early then. Okay.
All right.
Okay, where are my
Hello.
notes? It's somewhere in this notebook.
All right. You were taking diary notes.
Yes.
The Hayseed Knight. Not just Hayseed Knight. The Hayseed Knight.
You're probably getting larger paper than this really tiny notebook, but you have to make do. Joker did say it was going to be along in a minute.
Aha. How is the Roo Croo tonight? I'm doing pretty good.
Bunch of stuff that we did not. Whoop. No, menu. Load that one. There we go. Okay. I didn't know we opened up several of the closed ones. Go to promising new ally. Try the first one again.
Sam, you see,
No.
darling queen, I don't want to hurry your grace, but I think that's the sun coming up your window. You sure you don't want to go grab some scissors?
Okay.
Yeah, I like both these choices. Let's see. Push him off a cliff or jump
Yeah,
off a cliff.
So I tell him halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha. But in what direction? And the caravan driver looks me up and down with a weird face, shakes his head, and says,
That's the name of the place, you plunker. Halfway from nowhere.
Oh, come on. Don't take it out on his accent. It wasn't that hard to figure out. You were the one being thick.
You spend 2 days crossing the Kaib Rift without one drop of water in your canteen, and then tell me if you can figure out a word them Poodoos say. Know how long it took me to get they were asking me to come along?
I'll take your word for it. You'd know about unintelligible accents. What kind of place was halfway from nowhere anyway?
Oh, it's just one of those roadside inns. Just an inn, yep.
It was a brothel, wasn't it?
An inn. Halfway from nowhere.
You got it, ma'am. You should have seen the staff. They sure were friendly, but I was far too broke to afford the stay, so I just walked in for a minute to
Quench your thirst.
You want to hear about my neck next?
Bells began resonating all over the city center. A new day began.
Oh, darn, curfew's over. I gotta get ready for work, and we'll have to leave that story for the next time.
Say, Adder, would you take me with you?
To the inn?
No, to the steps, on a quest to nowhere at all. Aren't you always complaining about how awful it is living in the city?
Well, yeah, but I can't go and take you on an adventure when I got work to do. My boss would come and drag me all the way back to Heirloom if she got to.
But I
And
need you to take
Sep's
me
still
out
just
of
looking
here.
for a way out.
Yeah.
Can't you just go on your own?
Of course not. I need someone to blame when Miss Rochelle starts asking questions.
So what? You want to turn me into a pirate or something here? Captain Adder, the lady kidnapping horn-eater!
You wouldn't be a villain. Think of it as a nightly rescue.
You got everything you'd ever need here. What the hell would I be rescuing you from?
That doesn't matter. Don't you remember how much fun we had escaping those guards? Imagine living like that every day.
That's what my life looks like already, and trust me, the world out there ain't nothing half as fun as you're making it sound. Following your dreams only sounds fun till you end up half naked in the slums, picking up chewed olive bones to make soup for two.
You are a bore.
But I'm a bore you adore.
Oh. Just take me away.
Calgon, take me away.
Memory's missing too.
I also like how he's looking angry.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
We're good. How are you, Stokes?
I'm doing all right too. Can't complain. Well, I mean, I could, but I don't want to.
Double check that.
Sep, you see, darling queen, I don't want to hurry your grace, but I think that's the sun coming up your window. You sure you don't want to go grab some? So I tell him, halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha.
That one's missing lots of memories on both of them.
Alright. Do we have a thing about her interactions with Ina when she was younger?
Let's see.
Man, that's a lot of question marks.
Could always use a few more.
Could also use a few less. That's
Honestly,
kind of the point, I think.
There. I will always enjoy this this adder face. I enjoy most of
Yeah.
Adder's faces,
honey,
honestly.
come on. You can't stay mad at your poor brother.
Seb stared at the window with such intensity it seemed she wanted to set it on fire.
Well, she could if she really wanted to.
It was dark out, darker than ever, even in a long Donsoon night. She had been waiting for someone who wasn't allowed to visit. A brief gust of wind pushed the window in the closed balcony against its frame, letting her down once more. Adder was supposed to arrive 2 hours prior, and he'd never once been late in the whole season. Not even Miss Rochelle's threats could have made him stay away, Sep was sure of it.
What if something's happened to him?
Sep's gaze was drawn to the window once more. She had seen Adder slip through it dozens of times now, but she had never tried any such feat herself. Even though she lived on the first floor, the ground below looked like an abyss for someone afraid of falling. And yet, what other options did she have? Walking out the door and pretending that last night's conversation had never happened?
I mean, yeah, that is an option, technically.
Mustering courage from the depths of her heart she had not kept locked away for years, Sep headed to the balcony and glared at the woodwork covering it. She shoved the window open and took a deep breath, using all of her willpower to stick one tentative leg out of the balcony.
I must strongly discourage you from resting your hooves on the frame, my son. The lattice may not be able to withstand your weight, and I am standing underneath.
Scare almost made Sepp tip forward and fall forwards into the street. She quickly recoiled and ended up in the balcony instead.
Who's there?
My name is Hadjab Ahmet, descendant of Hadjab, the great cartographer, steward of the Askadath household and heirloom. It is an honor to be at your service, Jasif.
The flippancy of his voice wasn't lost on Sepp.
Did Sir Askadath send you?
Affirmative, my son. I have been charged with the peculiar task of protecting your room, as Sir Askadath was led to believe that the Jasif would feel safer with a fellow Barhan civilian watching over her window than any of his trained deer guard.
Well, you are doing fantastic. Congratulations on your promotion. Go ahead and watch my window all you want. I have places to go.
I'm afraid I cannot let you do that, my son. The orders were, paraphrasing, make sure no one comes in, and I believe it strongly implied I should make sure that you remain inside your room while I carry out the task.
Are you open to discussing semantics?
Negative, my son. Sir Askadath discourages the pursuit of intellectual matters for the duration of my shift.
How about a little break then? You could come up here and relax a little if you'd like. Share some wine, perhaps?
Negative, my son. I am not allowed to consume alcohol for the duration of my shift.
Negative.
Tea, then?
Only if it's hemlock, my son.
Hemlock? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were a eunuch.
I am under no obligation to prove the size of my virility just to entertain your provocations, my son.
Are you always like this?
Affirmative, my...
Sepp slammed the window shut. She would have to walk out the front door with a high head and quiet steps.
Where do you think you're going, honey?
I'm going to take a stroll.
Oh, no. I'm afraid that long walks under the moonlight are no longer part of the menu for you. You're far too precious to be wandering around like a ghost now, future Jasif of Askadath. That's why I decided to put you in a casual encounters diet so you can fit in the wedding dress.
Jasif of Askadath? Then Sepp and Elbar!
Focus, Lynn.
I'm not going to see anyone. I just need to leave for 5 minutes.
Then I'm sure you can bring the escort Sir Askadath has dispensed for your security. I hear he's a great conversationalist.
You knew about... Wait. You told Elbar, didn't you? You filthy liar. You promised you wouldn't tell on us.
I said I wouldn't tell Talid. I wouldn't want to see that wretched little fawn drawn and quartered because of your strange taste in men. But I wouldn't dare extend the same treatment to Elbar. He is your patron, our patron, and your fiancé. Oh, don't make that face, sweetheart. I only told him that some miserable buck tried to sneak into your room a couple of nights ago. Nothing else. He'll be fine. And so will you. You can find yourself a new friend as soon as you finish paying your dowry.
Of all the miserable things that you've done, this is...
Haven't I made myself clear? You are grounded, Sepp. Go to your room.
Sepp's mouth opened and closed as Miss Rochelle turned around, but no sound came out. The door was closed and locked from the outside, but even if it hadn't, Sepp had no will to fight back. A dozen cushions heard her scream of frustration and impotence as she realized for the first time, after all these years, that she didn't even own a key to her own room. The scream continued as she finally understood that she would soon be forced out of the only place she'd ever known as home, both her only haven and the origin of all her fears. Her voice broke into sobs as she realized the effect her absence would have.
Morning.
Hello, Maxi.
Oh, hello.
Experiencing extreme emotional distress along with Sepp.
Oh, yay. Me too, it's 5 a.m. I get that.
Affirmative.
Yeah, 5 a.m. is a good time for emotional distress. I find 5 a.m. inherently emotionally distressful myself.
To be fair, though, like I'm in the wake up at 4 a.m. side of things. So it's the less emotional side of things. It's the why can't I stay asleep side of things, you know.
I do know.
Still emotional though, yeah. Different emotion though.
Oh, how I know.
Hey, Gilded
Have you
Cage.
tried?
Huh?
Oh.
Go
I was
on.
gonna say, have you tried melatonin or chamomile?
I haven't, cause there's antecedents of addiction to sleeping pills in my family, so I'm a little bit, you know. So yeah, I haven't tried it.
That's fair.
A Gilded Cage. It's been a day since I tried to leave, and it's already one of the most disconcerting I've lived in recent years. I've never seen Raoul seething like this, not since Mom passed. I asked to be let out again this morning, and she said she wouldn't let me leave my room at all. That I clearly could not be trusted with my own choices, that she was wrong for thinking me an adult. But you know what, Diary? I was always right in thinking her a cold-hearted beast. And yet, despite all the hurtful things she said, she's been sending all manner of gifts to my room. Fresh figs, sweet wine, new books, and charcoal and ink for my drawings. What are these, my wedding presents? Because I would love for nothing more than for her to choke on her lies and leave me alone. Early this morning, I heard the lock click. Raoul made sure to be noisy about it, so I know she unlocked the door, but she still wouldn't take her eyes off my room for 1 second. I don't care what sort of trap she's trying to set, but I won't fall for it. I have everything I need right here. The rest of the house may as well not exist. All I keep worrying about is how I could... No, I don't know what she'll do if Adder tries anything, but I'm sure he'll come up with something. He'll find his way back to me, he always does. I'll win the war and earn my happy ending. I just have to resist a little longer. Hunger. Yesterday, I finally finished nibbling away at a little stash I had saved from Elbar's last visit. What started with a slight feeling of peckishness I could easily disregard had me waking up with horrible stomachache I couldn't ignore anymore just a few hours later in the middle of the night. I had to give in and eat some of the food Raoul brought today, and she'll see it and think that I gave in and I'm going to listen to her now. I feel really bad. P.S. No sign of Adder today either. What's the longest anyone's memory has lasted without news, Diary? P.S.S. Does he always feel like this when he's not around? I'll make sure to raid the pantry before leaving. Sick. Elbar tried to visit today, but I've been refusing to see him. It doesn't matter either way. I know Raoul will tell him I'm sick. I'm sure she's convinced it's the truth, too. Days keep passing. She'd usually be poking me and pestering me all night to get ready for my next show by now, but she doesn't say a word when she brings my lunch. She doesn't lock the door when she leaves either. I don't know what she's trying anymore. Mistake. I woke up today, early today to the sound of drums. A congregation of priests of Ahimai were offering blessings and recruiting souls for their cult like every first day. Then it dawned on me. I thought there must have been a mistake, but no. I rushed out of my room and asked the first girl I saw what day it was. She said it was first day. It's been a week already. It's been a whole week somehow. He's gone.
Memories missing one.
You said it.
That's what the sound of missing the memory sounds like.
I really freaking hate that
And then the
people who...
Gilligrad grabbed me by the neck, and I heard this loud friggin' crack, and suddenly, I could do this.
I was gonna say that I really hate that people who know me refer to Aina's noises as Sandra noises. Alright, so Seb's thoughts are, yep.
I'm so dead. I'm so
Oop.
Sep came to little by little, feeling tremendously disoriented with every passing second. Her eyes felt red and dry, her nose was stuffed, and judging by the warm fur brushing her face, she was surely being embraced by someone. Someone with hands made for hugging. Sep shifted awkwardly in place, trying to find a way to turn around that wouldn't involve goring someone with her horns.
Turn around.
First thing she saw was Adder's face, sadly turned away from hers. The second, the sea, vast and mighty, blending into the darkness far beyond. And the third, the palace, commanding respect on all that saw it. She had to do a little bit of mental backtracking to remember that she had taken a nap while Adder waited for inebriation to pass. Cried herself to sleep, most likely. Her sudden bout of embarrassment went thankfully unnoticed by her companion, who merely seemed happy to exist and have her in his arms.
Beautiful, ain't it?
The sea, the palace, or me?
All three? But especially you, no doubt.
Liar. I wish you'd look at me the way you're looking at the Alcazar.
Hey, can you blame me? I mean, it's a real darn killer for a building. Look at those curves. I'd be struck dead if I wasn't watching it with the prettiest gal in all of Ireland.
Shame on you, trying to flatter your way out of this conversation. You don't intend to share your obsession with the palace, do you?
Nah, nah. No way, ma'am. I'd never hear the end of it if I told you.
Blame me all you want. It's clear to me that you're just so afraid of telling the truth that you'd rather keep lying forever.
A skeptical, one-eyed squint and a frown followed this provocation. Adder jutted his jaw out as he let his chin rest on Sep's head, asserting whatever resemblance of dominance a boy like him could have.
You didn't hear this from me, but, rumor has it that a prairie buck from down yonder the steppes ran to the city a few seasons back. He sold all his clothes along the way, and the new ones cost him an eye, but here he was at last. The ones who know him said, oh, they said to me, he got the silliest dream they'd ever heard. They said he wanted to become a knight. A knight of all things. And maybe you don't know, because he didn't know it either back then, but farmhands don't become knights. They become good-for-nothing, stuck in a city where no one takes them seriously, watching the place where important things happen, and knowing they'll never get to set a hoof inside.
A poignant tale, no doubt. Though, knowing you, it can hardly be the whole truth.
You can tell? I mean, it's a truth. Closer to the real thing than the story about the talking barrel of ale, that's for sure. But the one true truth's that I got far too little on my plate to worry about dreams and far too much to spend time moping. This dumbass I'm telling you about has been gone for a while now.
I see. Well, do let me know if you ever find him. I will make sure to make him part of my personal entourage once I become queen.
All right, that's a good one. Queen of the gazelles.
Does it look like I'm joking to you?
You ain't?
Sep turned her head towards the palace. She sank her fingers into the sand, trying to placate an ire that always lay dormant at the bottom of her heart.
No one may take you seriously in the city, Adder. Perhaps they looked at your horns and laughed back in your town. But not a day has gone by since I was born where someone hasn't looked down on me for mine. Not even when Mom was there to defend me. Do you know what it's like to live a life without anyone to call your equal? To know that all I can realistically aspire to is becoming some horn-eater's mistress for as long as I'm beautiful? Just to die alone because no sane gazelle would take a doe wannabe for a wife? Is it really so dumb to dream of a life where I have the power to set the score straight?
I'm sorry, Yusif. I didn't know.
Of course you didn't know. You're a lame one-eyed excuse for a gaze reader and a liar. And I didn't expect any better.
He was good enough, at the very least, to recognize when someone was lashing out at him for the lack of a better way to express their feelings.
I know it don't mean much, but if you're so worried about the future, I still mean what I said that time. I could take you if you want. We could save up some cash, get a field somewhere, and... I mean, I can't imagine thinking you don't look pretty for a single day in my life, so...
And become almost septuate wife of Adder, the roe resigned to marrying a gazelle? Spend the rest of my life raising your fawns while I pretend I don't notice the way farmers look down on me? I'll pass. Thank you. Besides, I know that eager gleam in your eye, Adder. I've known many deer like you before. You just want me because you haven't known anyone else's touch. It won't last forever. That much I can foresee.
All right, what if, and this is just an if, What if all those stories I told you night after night were a little bit true? What if I only wanted to be a knight to get the kind of power that'd let me protect the people I love? That'd mean I get you a little bit then, right? And if I get you, well, maybe it's because I like you more than just your body and the way you make me feel. Maybe I end up falling for those little bits of warmth I see behind your cold blue eyes.
You can be quite the poet when you want to.
And I can be quite the knight when I got to. Just let me prove it to you, my queen.
Zep's face turned red as a tomato. Her lip trembled slightly as she made an effort to keep her composure.
You do realize that there will always be others, correct? This is not, and has never been, something exclusive to me.
That's all right with me. I got 20 years of experience working as a freelancer.
And don't expect any special treatment just because you're my favorite. I would lay with a Macadar if that took me a step closer to the throne.
Your tail switching.
That just means you'll be keeping the bed real warm for me.
He's gotten used to that part.
Adder's like, yeah, I'm okay with being a kept man.
Are you really okay with this?
I don't think you'll believe me if I tell you you're one of the nicest people I've met in this whole city, and it still sounds like an improvement over my whole life, so let me just say this instead. I love you, Sep. Please let me stay with you.
Idiot! Don't think I can't tell you're trying to attack now that I'm drunk.
Who, me? Adderson, son of Gerfod of the upper field, taking advantage of a poor, defenseless lady to confess his love. You offend me, ma'am. I'm wounded. Wounded, I say. A knight should never announce his love expecting a reply. But I ain't even a squire, so you can go ahead and admit that you want me at least.
I want you to shut up.
There's only one way to make me do that.
A handful of sand in his mouth wasn't precisely the idea Adder had in mind, but it worked just as well.
So apparently there's two ways.
People. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, I'm polyamorous. This scene is meant to say, hey, these two are poly.
Have people not been interpreting it that way?
No one has ever, like, very, very few people get this scene. Is them saying, is Sep saying, okay, so look, this is not monogamous. I am not monogamous, Adder. And then Adder's like, okay, I am fine with this.
I don't see how you could interpret it any other way. Like, that's basically what they said.
Like, how can you get through the whole scene? Like, and be like, oh my god, love triangle.
If I may, I don't think that she was trying to say anything about, oh, I'm monogamous or anything like that, but from what I took away from that, she's saying that the only reason she would sleep with somebody else is because there was like a utility to it. She's like, you have my heart, but other people can have me in their bed because I need some use out of it. But you're the only one I'll sleep with because I want to.
No, but the thing is, like, she's saying, like, this has never been exclusive to me, right? Like, just because you're my favorite, just because you're the one they like best, doesn't mean, like, I'm going to be there for you, you know?
Doesn't mean that you own me.
Yeah, that's a core principle of not just open relationships but polyamory. It's like,
okay,
polyamory comes in many forms. One of them is
Hierarchical.
Yeah, hierarchical relationships, right? Some people have someone they like best, and then other people have every relationship matters the same to them. To Sep, Adder is her favorite person. That doesn't mean, like, that's the thing, right? Like, people know so little about polyamory that they can look at this thing and be like, oh my gosh, she's just being tsundere. That's the thing, right? Like, It's what Roo says.
I think
The
it's like
language-
Sep doesn't necessarily just sleep with other people because of political reasons. I mean, she was definitely trying to get Elbar into bed
Yes.
because she wanted to sleep with him. And it's only after she really pushed the fact that she realized, oh, he's a horn eater. Like, for... and not for me.
He's, yeah. She's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm barking up the wrong tree.
That's the thing, right? Like, she's all throughout. She's like, well, I just like messing around with people. Okay, I just really enjoy this part of life. And then she's like, wait, Elbar.
I guess the line where she
Oh.
was like, I would sleep. What is it? She's like, I would sleep with a magister if it got me closer to the throne.
Yeah.
That sends me down the idea that she's trying to
Oh, no,
explain.
she-
Look,
she
sex is a
said-
political thing.
Oh no, she says a makedar. Like she says like I will sleep with like a tree. Like when I will sleep with like. She's like I will sleep with Ilegrab if that
Oh,
would
I
took
see,
me
I see.
closer to the throne. Like
I mean, to be fair, tree people would
good.
Anyway,
Enjoy yourselves.
I don't know, man. I hear that when you take them to bed, they can get really sappy.
okay, we're moving on now.
And
Not often that one could find Sep pacing back and forth around her room. She was usually quite more laid back, meaning she'd only lift a finger if she absolutely had to once she was done dancing for the day.
Dancing queen.
But tonight she just couldn't stay still. There was someone waiting for her. It was her only chance. She absolutely had to meet him. She would sneak out no matter the cost. The back door that the servants used was right there. Just a few steps more and she could...
Trying to sneak out again, dear?
Sep balled her hand into a fist just inches away from the door handle. He breathed deeply and turned around.
I'm not trying to sneak out. I'm leaving this place.
Well, that's dramatic. Are you leaving for a night? A year? Unlike you, I can't know what people are thinking if they don't tell me, dear.
You really want to know what I'm thinking? You want me to tell you how much I hate you one last time? Fine. This is the last time you see me bowing my head before you, Ral. I won't let you decide ever again what my own good is. I won't let you steal the things I love from me anymore. Can't you see that you've made my life a living nightmare?
Yes, you look like the very image of suffering. Whatever have I done to be so cruel to you? Haven't I given you everything? Haven't I taught you everything I know?
You've taken everything from me. My culture, my skills, my name. You said that you would raise me to be the woman Mom wanted me to be. But all you ever did was keep me locked and complacent so you could use me as your pawn. But it's over. I'm done with your little games.
Sep turned back again towards the door, ready to open it. It was locked.
You really think I'm the heartless one here, Sep? Tell me, did you ever consider how I suffered when your mother died? I loved her. I knew her better than any of you could ever have. And yet I had to be the first to get over her death to protect you. We could have been there for each other. But you pushed me away when I couldn't be Thar. You pushed me away when I couldn't be Geoff or Talid or Ilagrab. You push me every time I try to be there for you. And then you cry because you feel alone. But that's okay, isn't it? In the end, we're just two lonely women obsessed with being loved by those who look down on us. After all, we've both lived our lives putting someone on a pedestal. It makes sense.
Miss Rochelle's eternal grin vanished. The woman who taught Sep how to smile when everything was falling apart grimaced, but only for a moment.
Oh, look at me rambling like an old woman when you have other things to do. Can you do me one last favor before you leave, dear? I think I left the front door open, but I'm exhausted, and you know I look like a raisin without my beauty sleep. Go and lock it for me, will you?
Miss Rochelle deposited a brass rose cape key in Sep's hands, and she turned her back on the gazelle and began walking towards the stairs that led to the first floor. Sep stared at the key for what felt like an eternity. unbelieving, disconcerted, skeptical.
I know you're not doing this out of kindness, Ral. You just hate seeing that you're losing, don't you? You want to watch me ruin my life and Adder's and be there to say, I told you, when I have to drag my tail back.
Dear, I've only asked you to lock the door. The rest is all up to you.
Current became more and more complex as Adder traveled down this path. Memory's missing one.
Seb's thoughts, were you trying to get killed and forget my life, go on adventures.
Yay, adventures.
Woo!
I like that last red one. I want to break free.
Dun, dun, dun.
A very long one. Let's see. Okay, that last one was break free.
Blaze Cat and Raptor are both offering their wow, we hate Rochelle.
Yeah, she seems like a she seems like a character that most people dislike based on what I've seen. I also have kind of a rather strong visceral reaction to her, but I have a sneaking suspicion that you're going to show us some other aspect of her that makes her more sympathetic.
I don't have to show you shit. I love my wife. She's my wife.
You're like, she is my wife, and you will respect her.
No, she's my wife and she sucks.
Valid. It'll take me a while to recover from that one.
Sure you're all right?
I told you! The wine went to my head, nothing else. I'm fine now.
See, Mother Lothar is also my wife. There you go. I discovered quite a few things about myself when I was like 14 years old watching Tangled.
Oh gosh. That is, it's funny, I was thinking about her when that scene was happening.
So yeah, I feel like a lot of people have talked about that same kind of thing with Encanto recently.
Actually, the cues I gave the voice actors when we were going through this, I was like, okay, have you watched Steven Universe? Can you give me some burn in here?
That is also valid.
For real? I don't mind spending another night making you company if you need it. Just ditch the ropes this time.
Don't even joke about that. I can't imagine what Rel would do to you if she found you here.
Well, that'd be the case if she found Adder. But if she found Sir Adder Cinda the Upper Field, loyal servant of Yasif.
Welcome to the Desert Rose, my lord.
Go.
Stay.
Miss Rochelle advanced toward the two sobering idiots, trudging right through the mess of the room Set perpetually lived in. Adder was now firmly pinned against the lattice covering the balcony that he always used as an entrance.
On second thought, I can almost see the appeal in that pitiful sunken face of yours. You look so obedient and innocent, like you wouldn't hurt a fly. Oh dear, I bet you didn't even realize you were intruding on a private commercial transaction.
You could bet your farm on it, ma'am. I'd have to know what any of those words means first.
Good, because you wouldn't like what we do with intruders around here.
I'm sure I wouldn't, ma'am. Raw?
It's Rochelle for you. Miss Rochelle.
Miss Rochelle! The Miss Rochelle! Of course! Seb always tells me how much she loves it.
Seb!
Stop talking, please.
Well, I'll be Sep. Now that's a name I didn't expect to hear again. Sep. How cute. Oh no, sorry. I shouldn't laugh. This is far more serious than I thought. I'm afraid that just kicking you out of a window won't cut it anymore. Say, Sep, who should I tell first? Elbar or Talid? Oh, I saw that face you made just now. You've met Talid, haven't you, Adder? You've heard the things he does to the people he doesn't like, right? It's settled then.
Wait, please, anything but that. Don't tell Talid, Ral. I beg you. This isn't Adder's fault. It's mine. I keep asking him to come back. I just manipulated him into thinking that I needed him, just like the rest. But he won't come by ever again. I swear by Hirub.
Oh, honey, what a selfless declaration. I'm moved by your love. I truly am. But your tears and your words aren't valuable enough to buy my silence. Hurry up. The negotiations are about to close.
I'll tell you everything I know about Elbar, all the plans I've made with him. I'll do anything you ask of me, but please, let Adder go unharmed.
Now that's more like it. Ooh, I can just tell you've been keeping something really juicy to yourself. Oh, you're still here?
I ain't leaving till my queen tells me to.
Oh, how adorable. You found yourself a Hayseed Knight. Too bad it's useless.
She said the thing!
The highest
She said the
authority,
thing!
Not her.
She said the
I
thing!
can do this, and she can't.
Sorry, Kat, I didn't mean to startle you. She's looking at me with those big eyes like, why? Why you make such loud noise?
Guards!
But that disappeared.
Oh, sweet little baby.
Adventure.
You don't say.
No.
Maybe you do say.
Which memory is that? I don't know.
Oh, why are you?
So her thoughts are currently, you should have rescued me and forget my life, go on adventures.
Is book reading your thoughts, Max?
You sure you're all...
Forget my life, go on adventures.
Yep. Those are the two thoughts right now.
Okay.
Baby.
Years ago, in the wake of my rite of age, I declared that I would be my own person, that I would wait for no one to rescue me from the torture that my life is, that only I had the power to set my path straight. Now that my horns are too heavy and my butt is too big to fit through the vent I used to escape through when I was a child, I would like to formally apologize and take it all back. I still want to run, diary. I dream of quitting everything and wandering all over my homeland whenever I'm restless before a show. I dream of the meaningful lives that all the other people in the world must be having, away from my dessert trays and my fancy dresses. But it seems the only one who will take me away anymore is my good friend, the wine.
So I'm feeling halfway from nowhere. You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
I was just thinking about the last time we walked together like this. You mentioned that you would have liked to become an actor if your life had gone differently, remember? I'm afraid that I have been plagued by what-ifs ever since. Say, Sir Askadath, does your heart still long for a life beyond these walls when you know that it can't possibly be better than what you have? Do your dreams haunt you as well when you can't fall asleep?
Dreams! Ah! Perish the thought! Dreams are for the idle. I am a man driven by objectives, and I have spent all my life working towards a single, all-encompassing goal. Proving myself to one man, my father. But my father had another son, a legitimate son. A boy who was inferior to me in every regard, from swordcraft to wordcraft to looks.
To Warcraft!
Spitting image of the deer whose approval I so desired. He came to be a mirror reflecting everything I hated about myself.
Not
My
StarCraft. I worked in
hatred grew
StarCraft.
and grew until it was strong enough to turn a blunt sword into a mace, to disfigure a deer with a single misplaced blow. I didn't mean to do it. I swore 1,000 times that it was an accident, but who in their right mind would listen to a fratricidal bastard? A life yearning to be someone worthy of the name I had been given, broken in mere seconds. I was banished, forced to join a military academy, an heirloom like a damned merchant's son. But even in my exile, I still sought to appease my father. I hoped, no, I dreamed of being allowed to return home.
Is there really no way to undo your punishment? Perhaps you could appeal to your father and ask him to...
He can't do anything anymore, gods damn it! My father is no longer among us. He died a hero last year fighting the Makadar hordes far to the south. And with him all those pointless dreams where I was forgiven and allowed to return to the hearth of Askadath. In his tragic death, I found a boon. I have nothing to prove anymore. I have no reason to live my life in any way but the one I choose. I am, dare I say, free in my confinement. My fate has become mine, in earnest, and I choose to say, screw fate! I do not speak of gods or written destinies, if not in jest, Jasif. I learn from the words of the great masters I've witnessed. If a fiction wrought by the mind of a commoner can conjure some resemblance of purpose in this meaningless world, then I shall make my life the greatest play!
So what role do I play in your script, Master Askadath?
You play as yourself. As a valiant knight, my story calls for a princess. And you truly are everything I could seek in one. Graceful, literate, and laughably controversial. I spent years looking before I found you, but at last, our love shall be the subject of 1,000 gossips.
A life lived to leave an impression upon the onlookers. What meaning is there in making an effort if no one can tell you made it?
See, Jasif, you understand me. You may not be an actress, but you know your public. You command the scene when you dance. I command the citizens with my guards. We are one and the same in the end. Two crowd pleasers torn away from the stage. I have indeed spent many nights fretting about the objectives my future shall hold. And I believe I have found just the perfect development for my character in the next act. Our heroic knight, Elbar, rescues Jasif, the last princess of Bassacursed, from the clutches of her evil stepmother. He offers her refuge in his palace, and, madly in love with each other, they decide to marry and live happily ever after. The end.
Wait, don't click. I just want to leave record of the fact the place is called Basak Serat. Don't tell Void. He keeps mispronouncing it as Bassacursed, and I was like, that fits perfectly. I'm just going to leave it there. And he's convinced that's the right way to say it. I haven't told him.
Void, if you're listening to this, don't.
So I just wrote it there as Bassacursed and I haven't told him. He's convinced that's the right way.
Back-tat-seret. That's how you pronounce it.
Basak-Serat. Okay, it's Basak-Serat.
Back-tact-or-sat.
The sexy rat. Got it.
The sexy rat, yeah. That's it. Got it.
Tell me about this happily ever after, sir. What does a happy life look like to you?
I'm not sure. We throw feasts and have fawns. Well, fawns are a stretch. We couldn't have fawns together, but I will find myself a second wife who can bear them. Maybe a third wife for good measure. You all will be united by the love and gratitude you feel towards me.
Yes, you can go real Gaston.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Zep's gaze remained firmly fixed on the blue horizon beyond the walls.
Why don't we
do
just
you
discuss
hesitate,
this?
Jasif? I'm offering you the biggest role you will have in your career.
It's truly an outstanding offer, isn't it? I don't mind sharing, and I'm not so stupid as to demand you make me part of your house. It would be reckless of me not to take you up on your proposal. So, Why, indeed.
There are two types of actors in this world, Jasif. The pragmatic and the romantic. Those who play anything and seek success and glory at all costs, and those who will always favor a smaller role they feel more connected to. We have no control over which characters speak to us, romantics. But an actor is an actor at the end of the day. We play our roles, like them or not, and we try to make the best of them. That's the only way we can keep moving forward. Perhaps you are a romantic at heart as well.
Elbar sent a little smile her way. Probably the kindest expression he had ever made in his life.
I can't even dream of helping my cause at this point, but I hope you will allow me to do right by yours. Let me know when you have decided.
With that, he sent his cape flying and walked away.
How much does this man spend in capes?
You know, not enough. You can never have too high big of a cape budget.
That was
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
I enjoy that he calls her babe for some reason.
Well, if
it always
she looks so distant, maybe you should get some
But-
glasses.
You don't say. You continue
So I
to
tell him
not say.
halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha.
I thought you'd
Oh my
be
God.
hiding something. But no matter how much I try to drive you away, you you keep proving me wrong. Just like that. Why won't you leave me alone, you bore? You were not allowed to be this nice to me.
Sep, put that cup down. You're squeaking like a barkeep's rag.
Damn it, Adder. Nothing you say makes sense. But you're a good dear. Your behavior has been absolutely irreproachable, and I haven't been up to the mark. I'm so sorry.
You are?
I don't know. Wait. Oh, you should read my gaze and tell me. Oh, I can already hear your voice saying, well, yeehaw, my melon, me a biscuit. You're just a little sad on the set, dude. As always.
Oh, he's terrible with his accent.
I'll make like I didn't hear that if you tell me what the haze and almost something's supposed to be.
And
Almost shut up.
All right, that's it. We're gonna go and take a stroll for you spill your guts all over the carpet. Come on up. Holy horns! You're heavier than the last time.
It is you who is weaker.
Sneaking out of Sep's room was generally a lot easier without having to carry its owner over her shoulder like a sackcloth.
Yeah, but it's way less entertaining.
Far and away from the little hubs of nightly entertainment, Heirloom looked positively dead. Curfew rendered the streets almost pitch black, a strainer that only left those who knew how to navigate its narrow alleys in the dark.
Hey, where are we going?
Didn't you say I never take you anywhere? Well, no more. Today, I'm gonna show you my favorite spot in all of Heirloom.
That sounds boring. Let's do something more exciting. Let's elope. No. Let's jump off a bridge again. Ooh, make it 2 bridges.
Ma'am, it just so happens dear old Ducknaw is very attached to me, and I don't want to make her jealous.
Oh, please. I've seen you do it once. I'm sure you can do it twice. It doesn't have to be the royal pathway this time. It can be a smaller bridge. A tiny one.
Just a wee little
I'm the kind of bug
bridge.
that's got to run around in the rain to get wet. I could survive any fall just fine. But I already know how it feels when the ground wants you back, and let me tell you, it ain't pretty.
'Cause of my... 'cause of my butt, right? It's a butt joke. And I'm the... I'm the butt of the joke.
Yeah, the other way.
Atta girl, we're almost there.
The rhythm of Adder's steps, coupled with the soft sways of his arms as he held our peculiar drunkard, only served to increase the soporific effect of a few too many cups of wine.
Oh, now I just want a line
Soporific.
about how her cheeks are as rosy as her hair.
Which ones?
Step closer,
you're
eyes for a
right,
moment.
I was
Boy,
stunned out.
I'm gonna feel like I got sandbags instead of arms tomorrow. Wakey, sleepyhead. We're finally here.
I was stunned out for a second there, and my head went to curtains, drapes, and I was like, stalker.
Listen, I'm incorrigible, okay? Everyone knows that. And everyone keeps encouraging me, so...
Please, I don't even know what the meaning of that word is.
He really doesn't.
Incorrigible means you can't hold him in a cardboard box.
It's true.
For your information, I was actually awake the whole time.
I do this.
Sepp reached out for Adder's tail while she stretched her arms, prompting the buck to leave her on the ground a little faster. Once repositioned, she was finally free to look around, but she couldn't see anything. It was so dark and lonely out there that all she could make out was the diffuse glimmer of Adder's horns against the orange moonlight.
You gonna stare at me all night?
She only reluctantly moved her eyes away from his insistence. Her expression lit up as she finally got used to the dark enough to admire the view before her. A beautiful, empty beach, hidden behind a wall of run-down houses and drying racks covered by seaweeds. Obscured by the night, but with proud fires casting light upon its spires, Heirloom's Alcazar stood regally over an imposing mountain emerging from the sea, accessible only through the last section of the royal pathway.
Now, I know this place ain't nothing half as fancy as what you're used to, but when I'm feeling like time's running too fast and life's hitting me a little too hard, I come here and just sort of forget everything for a moment. Mr. Bard says it's a sobering view, so I figured it was the perfect time to show you.
They leaned against each other as they sat side by side, watching the LRC extending before them. Too rough and fierce to be explored by the tiny Apothorian merchant ships, but just loud enough to cover every other sound beyond the beach. The salty breeze kept a few sailboats moving in the night, but they didn't break the illusion of a world with only the two of them mattered. Sepp looked completely captivated by the view. Adder never needed an excuse to stare at her, mesmerized.
You ain't never been to the beach after curfew before, have you?
I've never been to the beach at all.
Afraid I've ruined the rest of them for you then. This one's perfect. It's empty, it's got a nice view of the palace, and, sand. Only bummer is it's one of those beaches that comes and goes, so, we'll be going with the sand if we don't get the hay out of here for dawn.
So, how did you find it? Why is it so empty? Have you taken anyone here before? Besides that Mr. Bard of yours, does it always smell so weird in here? How deep does the water go?
Whoa there, slow down. One question at a time, ma'am.
Sepp didn't ask again. She reached down for her boots instead, removing them clumsily before Adder's confused stare. Moving with barely just enough grace to not look absolutely wasted, she marched a few steps into the sea, letting the cold foam reach her ankles, and then her knees. Adder followed suit, having no footwear to worry about. They stayed there in silence for a moment that felt like an hour.
Do you think that we could reach a different shore if we jumped into the sea right now?
I still remember like that completely took you out for a while, Stoker. Like you were like, what? Boots? What? Like last time around, you were like, you're so confused by the concept of boots.
Yes, well.
No, like it. I understand. It's like you never see them. Actually, like they barely get brought up by the fact Aina has them. She kind of. But like no, I understand. But no, like Sepp is. Do you really think Sepp will bother dragging her perfect little footsies through the mud or whatever?
That's fair. That is completely fair. Her perfect little feetsies.
They are.
I hate to break it to you like this, but
my question
the eye
is,
patch
are
don't
there-
make me
are
a
there
pirate.
hooves or paws
I
in
swim
her
like a
boots?
bucket of nails.
Was that true?
Say that again, Miller?
Oh, because Adder and Seth both have hooves, right?
Yeah.
So then what about Aina then? If she's wearing boots, does she have hooves or paws in them? Or feet?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would. I have my thoughts on where the story's heading.
You have thoughts. I have thoughts. We all have thoughts.
She's gonna take her shoes off, and it's gonna be those weird little featureless triangles that Sega draws Sonic the Hedgehog characters with when they're wearing sandals.
She's gonna have Fire Emblem Awakening feet.
He has Mario's feet. They're beautiful, though.
No, they're just gonna be very realistic human feet.
Oh my god.
I can't swim either, but we could at least try, right? We don't have much to lose either way.
I don't
Folks
think
die when they drown, you know.
I was about to say, I'm not sure that philosophy works with swimming per se.
I know.
Silence intruded into the conversation again, always happy to make space for itself. Or no
Excuse
wistful
me.
remarks this time, for it was heavy and thick with the secret shared, perhaps unwillingly.
Yeah, I don't think she cares.
Most people would have sunk to the bottom of a silence like this, but not Adder.
Hey, how about I paddle us there? Look at these hands. They're basically oars. And my neck looks like the tip of a ship. I was born to be a boat, I'm telling you. Look, I'm just going to lay on my back, while you get on top of me, and we'll sail off to the sea.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you, Adder?
So, you want me on top of you, is what you're saying?
Yep.
I can take you wherever you want, is what I'm saying. I don't mind sinking, as long as you float.
Strange warmth spread across Sep's face. She couldn't understand very well why it was, but she was blinking a lot faster than before. She rubbed her eyes with her forearm, only managing to smear the teardrops all over her face. No matter how inebriated she was, she still had just about enough of a questionable sense of dignity to lay flat down on the sand, trying to hide her expression. Adder sat down by her side, grabbed her whole body with one hand, and moved her weight to his lap, letting all her anguish melt into tears between his arms. He had a feeling that she would never let him do this sober.
They're all gone, Adder.
I know.
He didn't really know. He didn't have a clue what she was crying about in her drunken haze as she clumsily stroked the hair around her horns. But it didn't matter. He understood just fine.
Yeah, this chapter has so many content warnings. So many.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Like, it's funny to me, because it's... How can I explain this? Yeah, no, it's very personal, so I'm like, no, this is really funny to me. It's hard to explain.
No, I get it. I actually get it, I think.
It's like somehow like you get through like a very, very rough patch in your life, and you're like, haha, look at them, they want to die. Oh my god, that's so funny. And then people are like, are you okay?
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
I got you, babe.
Desert Rose was an exceedingly successful business, usually hidden away in their own little corner of Heartache District. However, they were known for occasionally holding charity events for the good of the city. Brief glimpses of the wonders at the Desert Rose kept locked behind walls, shared with the poor citizens who would never get to see such beauties in their entire lives otherwise. Did I say charity? My bad, I meant promotion. The stage was set in the middle of the bazaar for the dancers, and the expectation was immense even hours before the show started. The plaza was filled to the brim with excited deer, curious does, a couple of bored gazelles, and a few intrigued ibexes, blocking everyone's view with their huge horns. But the owner of this memory wasn't basking in the love of the crowd that secretly sighed for her. No, we'd have to sneak into the dressing room to find her. Not like that.
Joseph, how
much longer do you need to get dressed? Miss Rochelle told me to drag you out by the horns if you're not ready by the next dance.
Why's her hat there? What? Okay, so for some reason she's wearing a hat.
Is she not supposed to be?
No, she's not. I don't know.
Oh, that's her fortune teller hat, isn't it?
Yes, I don't know why she's wearing a
Rush
hat.
me. You know how much the public means to me. My dance has to be so great they will never forget my face or my body. I'm still trying to decide where I want them to look today, so why don't you go and get the embers ready for me? I'll be out in a minute.
Absolutely not! I'm not your errand girl! That's what we have the stagehands for!
Well, someone needs to warn the stagehands that I'm on my way, right? Do you expect me to come out unannounced and stand on the spotlight smiling at the crowd while I wait for the servants to fetch me my torches?
I'm going to be the one to answer in front of Miss Rochelle if you play me a second time!
If I, what? Sorry? Play you? Wow, you really have a high opinion of me, don't you? Fine then. I swear by the 3 that I'm going to leave in a minute. There. Did that sound like a lie? No? Then go, before I tell Miss Rochelle that you've been delaying me.
That gave her the fakest smile that she could make until the doe backpedaled away. She was alone at last, free to focus on her plan. A plan that had taken weeks of preparation, cavillation, and study, merely to find a suitable chance to carry it out. But the day had finally arrived. And now the moment came too.
Rivets! Rivets! Buy your rivets here!
A jingling orange blur dashed out of the tent before the other dancer had a chance to react.
Wait, Joseph! Where are you going? The stage is this... not again.
Rivets for your shields! Rivets for your pants! Make your life more riveting! Slicker than boiled onion, aren't I? Ain't no way she's gonna find me like...
Adder!
That's my... Whoa! Hi! Hey, you called, ma'am?
Gods! Do you know how long you've had me waiting? How can a gangly one-eyed yellow deer be this hard to find?
I'm sorry, ma'am. If I'd known you were looking for me, I would have hollered a little louder. You, need some good old riveting. Some good old rivets, I mean.
I don't have time for your jokes right now.
My rivets ain't no joke, ma'am. They're for real cast steel rivets made and smuggled out of my boss's forge. Guaranteed return if... hey, you all right there?
Adder, it's me. Don't you remember me?
Ha! Nice try, Missy, but I know this scam. Next, you'll ask me for the money I borrowed from you 10 years ago, and to that I say,
Steph collapsed to the ground. Her mind was screaming in anger. It wasn't directed at Adder, no, it was directed at herself for letting something so stupid bring tears to her eyes.
Whoa, don't, it's all right. I don't know what's wrong, but there ain't nothing a rivet can't. What do you think you're looking at, huh? It's just a barhorn lady for crying out loud. Keep going, yeah, move along, nothing to see here. You mind if we take this somewhere a little bit quieter, ma'am? Come on, you can scam me all you want once we get away from these creeps.
Adder would never have dared pat a lady he just met reassuringly, so he instead used his arms as sunshades to protect her from gossipers and oglers alike. The ruckus of the bazaar became a mere whisper as they dived deeper into the maze of streets that surrounded the plaza.
Can't believe I let myself do something so undignified.
Nothing wrong with leaving your dignity home every once in a while, ma'am. My ma used to tell me that crying makes your eyes prettier, and yours are a force to reckon with. Not that I'm saying you're a crybaby, you just, you got some nice eyes there.
Eyes! Of course! You're a gaze reader!
Whoa, hold up there! How'd you know that? Did you read my mind? You a gaze reading scammer?
Of course not! I was the one who taught you that concept. Come here and see it for yourself.
Keep those hands where I can see them, ma'am. You ain't teach me nothing. A fortune-telling Zell I met moons ago in a fair did. She told you, didn't she? You're a Zell too. You gotta know her.
You can slap him later, you can slap him later, you can slap him later, you can slap him later. Well, I can't know that if you don't specify a little. So tell me about the gazelle. How did she look? She was gorgeous, wasn't she? Did she have any outstanding attributes besides literally everything else?
Well, it ain't like I like to creep on Zels or anything, but if it'll help you recognize her, I reckon she got a real big... Huh? Big horns? Big tail? No, that ain't right. She looked like a gazelle? What the... Wow-wee, ma'am. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I can't remember her looks at all now that I think about it. I don't know. Maybe I just fell for a big personality?
No, you didn't.
That response, though.
Yeah, that don't sound like me at all. Well, darn, all right. If you're trying to tell me she's you, just gorgeous don't cut it. You're so pretty you'd make a buck plow through a wall.
And she did.
That just don't make any sense. Ain't no way I could forget someone like you.
You could, if it was something beyond your control. I suppose I shouldn't have kept this a secret from you in the first place. Tell me, Adder, do you believe in curses?
Yeah, nah, a little bit. I mean, my patrons always curse me and nothing much has happened yet. Why? You gonna cast a Barhan curse on me if I don't pay up? Don't bother with the evil eye. I already got one of those.
I'm the one who's cursed, you prejudiced idiot. Well, not me, per se. That is, I wasn't cursed personally. It's more like... how am I even supposed to explain this to someone like you?
Seth began walking in circles, practicing her dance moves as she tried to come up with a way to explain a high-level magic concept to a boy as simple-minded as Adderson, son of Gerfaz.
All curses work under the same principle, an alteration in your connection to the Hatsa. In normal circumstances, the river would erode your soul when you died and lend it to your next life. But a curse can shake the current, block it, or worse yet, separate you.
Oopsie.
In normal circumstances, the river would erode your soul when you died and lend it to your next life. But a curse can shake the current, block it, or worse yet, separate you completely from it.
We talking Oblivion here?
That was a good game.
Seb nodded gravely.
Barhan legends say that Omagupseb, the last ruler of Bazaxarat, was cursed by Hirub himself for bringing misery to all gazelles. They say he begged the sun for a way to avoid disappearing completely from history, and it must have worked. I wouldn't be here otherwise. Both his methods and the exact clauses of the curse have been lost to time, but the consequences persist. I am an eternal novelty, a gazelle like no one's ever seen before, as history keeps finding contrived ways to erase me from the thoughts of those that meet me.
Is that right? Well, I'm afraid it don't gotta try too hard with me, ma'am. I'm a Karnmai fighter. Mind-bending, memory-breaking, widow-making, headbutts are part of my day-to-day. And I don't mean to brag, but I'm kinda...
A big deal! I know that, you brute! I knew that you would forget me, but I wanted to think that you looked so weird that you'd have to be special, that there had to be something different about you. But in the end, you're just a normal deer. I haven't given you permission to forget me, damn it! I wasn't ready to let go of you! You idiot! You miserable excuse for a gaze reader! You liar! You fool! You absolute dumbass! Remember me! I beg you!
Ma'am, I just want to say that this has got to be the finest scam I've ever seen in my life. Great story, great acting, and using mind reading to find out all those details beforehand was a great touch. Mr. Bard would have clapped if he'd seen you.
For the last time, it's not a goddamned...
Right. Don't break character. Good job. You accept donations on rivets?
Joseph! Joseph, where are you? Why do you always do this to me? Do I look like your nanny or something?
Joseph? Ain't that something like Queen and...
Sep grabbed Adder's face and pulled it toward hers. In the darkness of the alley, he saw her eyes glowing a mysterious blue.
Come to the beach tonight when the lights are all out. Understood? I swear by Hirub that I will tell all your friends that you're a horn eater if you don't show up.
The beach?
Your favorite place in all of Heirloom. This is my vote of confidence. I'm trusting you.
Three more races to go.
Sep, you see...
That's already did. Next one. I done this one? Yeah.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
I thought you'd be hiding something, but no matter how much I try to drive you away, you...
Sep? Sep, sweetie, are you in there? Could you open the window for me?
Still grab, buddy. We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, we really haven't.
That's okay. Don't worry, you don't need to say anything. I know how... No, I don't. I'm not immortal. I can't imagine how hard this must be for you. All I can say is that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there when it happened. I failed you, as much as I failed Thar. You don't believe what Yoff said, right? It was nothing personal. All the evidence pointed to a guy. I had to arrest him, and I think... Look, Sep, I don't want this to sound like I'm putting the blame on you in any way, but I have reasons to believe he might have...
He found out.
I see. That's... I don't know what to say. Sep, after all that's happened, I don't think it'd be wise for me to spend any more time around your family. I'm afraid I'm not welcome here anymore. So, we have to say our goodbye for now, little pumpkin. Curses don't have any effect on an old tree like me, so... Know that wherever you go and whatever you do, I'll be cheering you on from afar. You have a friend in me always, Sep. A loyal ally for the Jasif.
Sep's ears perked up on hearing that name. She'd read it over and over. She'd heard it in countless stories from her mother. But by the time she mustered the courage needed to open the window, Illigrab was gone. The sun was beginning to set far in the distance. Hirub's statue cast a long shadow over the city that no longer paid any heed to one of its great gods. Sep waited under the shade of the black marble statue, eyes glimmering in unnatural blue against the red hues that surrounded her. Her horns were still short, but her expression was that of an adult. The fumes coming from the offertories drew bizarre forms in the air, as if inhaled by the Hirub himself, all under the intense glare of two purple eyes in a sea of white.
Where's your father, Aina?
Aina's ears perked up on hearing her name. She stood frozen for a couple of seconds, then dashed off towards the temple, exchanging her presents for the merchants.
Don't waste your breath.
Yay,
praying,
presents.
daughter of Thor. Your mother can't hear you, and a statue can't reply. Well, what did you make me come all the way out here for?
I've come looking for your knowledge, Tespertalk. Illigrab said that you could train me.
Illigrab lied, as usual.
No, he didn't! He said that you too are cursed. that your daughter is as immortal, if not more so, than you are, and that you still dabble in the ancient art of Sephihet, looking for the way to cure her. I want you to do the same for me.
And why would I do that? Aina didn't deserve what happened to her, but that fool Omega Seb did. He deserved every last second of his punishment for bringing ruin upon all of Barhankind.
Even if that were true, how was any of what he did my fault? What have I done to deserve his fate? Do dear ask about my ancestors before looking down on me? Don't I live by the same unfair rules as the rest of the Barhan and Akazor?
Merchant caressed his beard as he pondered her words.
You are every bit as convincing as the last Jasif was. All right then. If you really want to become my apprentice, you must forget everything you hold dear. I will take you as my own child and give you whatever name I see fit. You will start anew, free to follow any path you seek.
What? No! I don't want to forget! I can't forget! How will I know what I have to do if you take that from me?
Like you ever knew to begin with! You were just a puppet, the protagonist in someone else's show! And now that your threads are breaking, Illigrab wants me to fix you! But I won't! I told him 1,000 times I don't care about gods and kings anymore! And neither should you! Come now, the temple is huge! And Aina could use the company.
Do you seriously expect me to believe that you will set me free if I let you steal my memories? That you won't use me? Do you think I'm an idiot?
No, I think you're a child.
I am Jasif. I was sired by the sun itself to reign over the world. You are nothing more than a servant to my biddings.
A lonely child is what you are.
I am Jasif, and you will kneel before me!
Merchant's knees wavered under the power of a voice that only barely began to resemble an adult's. The old man could only hold onto his cane to avoid falling on his face as his legs caved in. Sepp stood proudly over the wizard that was watching with awe at the reach of a power that she didn't yet understand. But she couldn't enjoy her victory for long. A low, growling sound and two purple gleams in the darkness beneath Hirob's statue distracted her for a moment. The last rays of sunlight reflected against two rows of pearly daggers, poised to sink into her flesh and bone. The sight froze Sepp's blood long enough for the merchant to recover his composure and lunge towards her, swinging his cane like a madman.
How dare you talk to your eldest like that, you spoiled rapscallion!
Protog's voice was so powerful that Sepp collapsed to her knees, but she wasn't his target. Behind him, a shadow seemed to dissolve into the ground, whacked away with the long end of the cane.
What was that? How did you...
Like I never tell you! Damn, kids. It's always the same. You think that you're better than the rest just because you're a little talented. Practice! Practice is the secret to every skill, and I've had 400 years to practice! I was cursed to live as the only man standing between you and the fate Hirob cast upon your kin. And yet you dare force my hand as my power grows too weak to protect you. Thank your luck the moon was not watching tonight, or else we'd both be lying in a pool of your blood.
My blood? What's any of that supposed to mean? I don't understand.
You only need to understand this, insolent child. I will not train you. Not today, not in 1,000 years. If there's a barhand fated to watch a new sunrise over Basaxarat, it won't be you. Not while I live.
I don't care what you, or the gods, or anyone wants. I will become Jasif, one way or another.
You can't become Jasif. Don't you feel the flames burning inside you? You were Jasif 1,000 years before you were born. The sun will scorch this land till the moon says the opposite.
Shiver went down the merchant's spine, shaking him from his beard to his bald tail. He stood still for a moment, looking in Sepp's direction.
So, that's how it is, huh? To think I'd seal my own fate over a stupid fawn's tantrum.
Who are you talking to?
That doesn't matter. I've said far too much. It's dusk now. You're feeling very tired. Go back home and wake up in your own bed, far from plots and divine missions. Live a life led by your own choices, daughter of Thor.
Yes, sir.
And you there! Pray that I don't find who you are!
Oh no, he's talking to us. Oh, never mind.
Now it's not 11. What in the name of oblivion was that just now? Ain't no way the patron would know I'm watching this, right, Sep? Right? Sep? Never mind. I'm getting the hay out of here.
Adder's like, never mind. I've decided I don't want to know.
Yeah, you know.
I don't want to know either. He was clearly attacking the Twitch audience.
I hate when this one. This one face is really inopportune.
What, the face that he has right here?
The horny face. It's like, I love when the horny face shows up in the best moments, and I hate when the horny face shows up in the worst moments.
He just makes the story sweet. He's blushing.
Yes, that's exactly what he's doing, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so super.
Read the thoughts.
He's such a sweet boy.
He's a sweet boy, alright.
Read the thoughts. Turn to the diary and read the thoughts.
And he's cooling his brain down.
Visit my greatest fault. What is Sep's greatest fault?
Ain't cool thoughts. It's a hot day.
This is the one memory you can brute force. You have to read the thought.
Uh-oh. Maxi dead.
Was it? No. Oh yeah, I'm dead. Yeah. No, I mean that's the usual state of affairs, but. I think
Yeah.
because you've done it so that you avoided this one so much, you don't remember this one.
No, I don't.
Do you all remember Sep's thingy?
Sep has a lot of things.
Sep's thing. I was gonna say.
The thingy.
The thing.
That kept popping up, and you all hated to hear. That's very specific.
Yes.
I think it kind of defeats the point if I tell you.
Don't.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I'm just here watching.
Mom?
There we go. Good job.
I didn't know that one continued on.
See, it's because last time you played, you kept running into that one over and over and over. You were like, oh my god, right? So by the time you got here, you were like, okay, yeah, we know which one it is. It's the game. The diary is designed so you keep running into this one if you are actually like playing in a less efficient way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you get to this point, you're like, no, yeah, I know what's haunting Sep.
Past Adder, sitting on the beach all alone as he watched the palace. As soon as he saw this, Adder knew what the ensuing memory would be. He felt compelled to walk away, to pretend he hadn't stumbled upon this. But there came Sap, awkwardly dragging her hooves through the sand as she made her way towards a past protection of himself.
Enjoying the view?
Adder jumped to his feet as Sep's face appeared on his monolateral field of vision.
Well, hello, does and stags. It's the magic scammer at last. And what took you so long, ma'am? Now I was starting to worry I'd have to go back home unstabbed.
I'm not a stabber. Why would I bring a knife here?
Let's see. The prettiest gazelle I've ever seen in my life asking a half-made, one-eyed chump to meet her alone in the dark on a deserted beach? Neither you brought a knife or you brought a fork, ma'am.
Precisely. If anyone's bound to carry a knife between us, that'd be you, slum dweller.
Ha! I knew you were lying through your teeth. If you knew me so well as you say you do, you'd know the chances of me carrying a shank are -0. I'm dead scared of pointy things.
Oh, I'm
And yet
sorry.
you want to be a
The
knight.
list is so long that it's hard to keep track of your fears sometimes.
You call me a coward now? Well, yeehaw my melt and call me a biscuit. I can't believe this. I've come here to be robbed, not insulted, missy. This buck's headed home if you're gonna get all pissy.
He said that one before.
Adder, wait!
Yeah, that's
Don't
the one
leave.
she made up when she was like mimicking him.
I'm at my wit's end here. Please, look at me. I know we haven't known each other long, but it was really fun. I've grown really fond of you. So, please, tell me that you know my face, my horns, my ears, my anything.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I couldn't tell a fir from a palm tree in this light. You mind if I step a little closer?
Sep nodded hesitantly. Adder got up slowly, dusted off his pants, and let his hands fall on his hips.
Wait, what'd you say about taking off his pants?
He pulled his head closer, his expression contorted into one of extreme concentration.
Now that you say it, you do look kind of familiar, yeah. What'd you say your name was again?
I'm Jaceve, because I said Jaceve, right? Who did I say I was?
And then he kissed her.
A queen don't need no introduction, you dumbass.
The slap Adder got wasn't at all undeserved.
You dissolute reprobate! You witless waste of Barhan blood! Ugh! How long have you known?
Only since that other doe called out your name. When she yelled, Yasif! I looked at her, and then I looked at you, and something in my mind went boom! And my brain just sort of knocked on my skull like, Adder, you dingus, that's your gal right there!
Of course! I hadn't taken previous third-party interactions into account. You met Nahira before with me specifically, in a very similar situation. We shared enough memories for your mind to find that extremely odd. A deja vu!
Bless you.
Don't you get it? The curse works so that you don't realize you know me unless you know that I exist. And what better way is there to prove my existence than having someone whose existence you acknowledge define my person in a word?
You're gonna have to explain that to me at least 20 times, Sep.
Adder grabbed the gazelle by her waist and began spinning her around. They turned and turned until they ended up dizzy and laughing in the sand. The two kissed and whispered and said 1,000 meaningless things, and when the rush began wearing off, they watched the sea quietly.
Even after all that, I'm still not very sure of how you could remember anything before tonight. Most people just forget they met me entirely if they don't see me for a few days, even if we meet again. You, however, could recall everything after weeks. Have you spent a long time around ghosts or gods or, cursed people in general? Your eye seems used to seeing things that shouldn't be there.
I don't know, and I don't care. My eye's just happy to see the things that are here right now.
It's gonna come up in the future.
Yeah, right.
Eye. Of course. We'll go with that.
Hey, don't get ugly now. I was worried sick. Thought something for real bad would have happened to you. Like maybe Miss Rochelle locked you up and I'd have to save you or you'd been sent away. But then I saw the guard and I thought, piece of cake. I'll just have to find a way to sneak in tomorrow. Next I knew, I'd been crying for days and I didn't even know who I was crying for. I tried looking in every corner of the city because I forgot the girl I was looking for. I missed you so much.
It's okay. I really... Well, it doesn't matter. It's over now.
Hold up! Don't tell me you went and ran away from home or something. Hold up!
It's okay. I really...
Accidentally tapping the mouse.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's over now. We won't have to stay away from each other ever again.
Hold up! Don't tell me you went and ran away from home or something just to be with me.
It's not just that, of course. There's far too much happening right now in my life. Elbar has been pulling me to one side, Rel to the other, and I don't know. I felt like I was about to break, and I didn't think I could handle it anymore. Not without you by my side, at least.
So what do we do now? You want to come with me to the slums? Mr. Bart will twist my neck like a rag when he sees you, but I'm sure you two will hit it off great. Now I can teach you how to avoid a knife fight, what fountains got clean water, the tastiest moss, and you didn't think this through, did you?
You are precisely the last person in the world I wanted to hear that from. But no, I had a feeling that I would never have another chance to have you by my side if I didn't come here tonight. And I'm not very used to having feelings in general. It felt important. Fortunately for all of us, I seem to be frankly terrible at burning bridges.
That produced a rose-shaped key out of her shirt.
If I go back to my life before Ral forgets me, we won't be able to see each other again. The curse will run its course. You'll forget me once more, and I'll be forced to remember you no matter what.
I don't want to forget you ever again, and much less see you cry, because I'm not thick-skulled enough to snap out on my own. But it ain't like it's hopeless, right? That Yasif guy sort of managed to break the curse, and I'm sure he wasn't half as smart as you are. You'll figure something out.
It's not like I don't have my own theories on how to break it. I mean, there is one deer who has been avoiding the curse for 2 decades. He keeps coming back no matter how much I tell him to go jump off a goddamned...
Yeah, that's Geoff, isn't it?
Yep.
Whatever. That's not relevant. Moving on. I think I know the reason why he's unable to forget me, but I don't think it's a good idea to replicate the experiment. You'd hate me for it.
Look at me, Sep. I don't know what an experiment is, but if I ain't begun hating you for all the ugly stuff you done to me, I won't begin anytime soon. I don't want to risk forgetting you ever again, okay? Whatever it is you gotta do, just... What the hell are you doing, Sep?
Taking precautions. Come now, don't just stand there. Take off your clothes too and get in the water with me. It should be safer like this.
I think you got that backwards, ma'am, but if you miss me that much...
Oh, come on, Adder.
There you go, taking his pants off.
Finally!
Sep's tail floated behind her like a fluffy bait, specifically designed to lure Adder into the water.
Adder, be modest, I'm watching you.
Adder, be modest, I'm watching you.
Like he hasn't taken his pants off enough times in the 6 last hours.
No, he hasn't taken them off enough.
Blair.
You walked towards the depths until the waves reached her shoulders, ensuring that they were far enough from both any onlookers on the shore and the merchant ships in the sea. The two stood awkwardly against each other, Gazelle and Buck naked.
Fuck, naked.
I don't get it.
This much was far from a shocking development, but the water was pretty cold, and exhibitionism wasn't precisely Adder's forte, so he felt like apologizing a few times and then digging a hole for himself. Step wouldn't just let him curse his own luck, however. It was the Gazelle who bridged the gap between them, bringing Adder closer to her until the curve of her horns was touching his jaw and her forehead was resting on his chest. Adder surrounded her whole body with one hand, surprised by her uncharacteristic display of affection.
Do you love me, Adder? I mean, do you really love me? Can you love me even though I'm a gazelle?
Come on, Sep. What sort of question is that? Of course I love you. I'm gonna say it as many times as you gotta hear it. I love your horns, I love your tail, I love those stripes on your face and your friggin' dumb smile and all the things I shouldn't be saying, but you know how much I dig.
Then, what if I told you I'm not quite a gazelle? Would you still love me then?
Say what?
Answer! Would you love me if I was something else?
Yeah, I'd love you no matter what.
Get on your knees and swear it!
I swear it! I love you with my whole heart, and you don't know how much love fits inside this heart, ma'am! It's bigger than my brain! Bigger than these hands, even!
A moment after this declaration seemed eternal. Adder was blushing so hard that his cheeks looked like they were about to catch fire. Sepp needed a moment to stop an outrageously undignifying tail wag before it started. After much hesitation, she carefully placed her wet hands on Adder's shoulders, her lip trembling as she did her best not to let the slightest trace of embarrassment show.
I trust you then.
She inhaled deeply, trying to put her thoughts in order like so many times before. A few moments passed. Her eyes began glowing an unnatural blue against the darkness. Adder had always thought that he'd been imagining things when he saw her eyes gleam, but he could see it clearly now. There really was a little flame flickering behind them. He stared intently, flummoxed by the peculiar sight, until Sepp turned her face away sharply. The glow vanished as her chest heaved, the blue light replaced instead by a nearly glowing red flush across her cheeks.
Don't stare at them like that. It's hard enough as it is.
Adder didn't confirm nor deny this. He merely nodded, and knowing that there was no other way he could look at her, closed his eye. Sepp curled her fingers around his shoulders, making her way towards his chest. Her palms began feeling warm as they dried up. It was a warmth that spread through Adder's body, reaching deep into his heart. He had felt this warmth many times before. It made him feel over the moon. However, the temperature kept increasing until it was no longer the comforting touch he knew so well. The heat began searing his whole skin, diving beyond the parts of him that were submerged until the water didn't even cool him anymore. It wasn't coming from her hands alone anymore, and it had gone way too far. Adder felt like he was holding a boiling pot instead of Gazelle. He tried to pull away, only for Sepp to increase her grip on his shoulders.
Not yet. Just a little longer. Please.
Oh no, that's the worst moment to do the raid.
His fingers felt like
That's
red-hot
the worst
iron.
moment to do the raid.
Hello,
no,
Raiders.
Hello, Raid.
This is the climax
Hello.
of the whole story.
Alright.
Oh, boy.
Spoilers.
Oh boy.
So many spoilers! Ah!
Enjoy the spoilers, all right.
Yep.
Adder lowered his head, unable to stand the glaring light beyond his eyelid. Sunrise, perhaps? No, that was impossible. The sea would have swallowed the beach whole. Deep down, he knew exactly what the source had to be, but he didn't want to see it. He knew that if he looked, he would never forget whatever he saw, that he would have to live with a new secret for the rest of his life, and he had too many of those already. And yet he opened his eye, curious, scared, and disoriented. Just a little. Just a glimpse. Just enough to see the sea on fire.
Yeah, buy the game. Everyone buy the game.
So I have my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You have thoughts?
I have
I
thoughts.
have brain. I have thoughts.
You have thoughts.
I have thoughts. I think she's an Ifrit.
A what? An Ifrit. No, there's no Ifrits in this story.
Damn it.
Sis. I mean, there are gods, though. Like, there are small gods, there are big gods, there are plenty of different types of gods.
Adder felt a longer tremor than usual as the memory disappeared. A piece of the wall fell, followed by another and a dozen more. A thin breach formed in her defenses, casting a single sunray into the darkness. It wasn't nearly big enough for his hands or his head, but that was, without a doubt, the way out of her heart that she had promised. He hadn't taken 2 steps toward it when he halted in place, paralyzed by a thought. Now we're done. Adder took a moment to reflect on the entries he'd read. If that wasn't enough, nothing would be. He headed towards the cracked wall and examined it for a while. It didn't look like anything less than an earthquake would make it tumble down. And what was the closest thing to an earthquake Adder had at hand? His head.
His head.
Yep.
Adder rammed straight into the wall, proving that his will could shatter rocks, bricks, and mental defenses.
Whew, I sure hope that wasn't important. All right, come on, Adder. You got this. Sam! I think I got a good idea of what's going on with you. Can you?
You know what? Fun story, though. Like, his voice actor was actually a quarterback in college.
That seems appropriate.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be like, fun story. His voice actor actually rammed himself through a wall for authenticity.
No, that's
Hey, I
no,
do
but
it.
he kept like whenever we record, he keeps fucking hitting the ceiling and the walls and everything. And I'm like, Stan, stop! He's great.
But it helps him get into character.
Man, I have to run out the camera to make the voice sound authentic.
Yeah, he gets so into character. Like it's great.
Adder took a deep breath, trying to recover from his fright, or rather, using it as an excuse to order his thoughts for the last time. What was, indeed, so wrong with Sepp as to require his help?
That's a lot. I mean, you
He's
know,
just
like,
bored.
She's just bored. Oh, baby.
You said you thought that thing shaking you up was fear.
You heard that
I
one.
think you got it right on the first try, ma'am. And I feel like every time I read your mind, there's always new bad memory waiting. I know how scary the curse is. And I've seen you lose so much, I'd have lost my darn mind if I were you. No wonder you never let your guard down now. You're afraid the moment you let someone in, you'll lose everything again.
And you proved me right.
Look, you don't understand what it's like to... Nah, I shouldn't talk about myself here. You're right to be mad at me. The burn didn't even hurt. I just got scared and needed an excuse to run from, well, you. You were very brave to trust me back then. I can see that now. I don't really know how to say this better, and I know it's pretty pointless at this point, but I'm sorry. I should have been there to protect you. I'll make you feel worse.
You're right. It's pointless. I'm still angry, and it'd be downright stupid to deny I'm terrified of what awaits us after this, and would much rather just stay here. But I'm confident that you're not going to let us die so easily. You have some excellent survival skills, if nothing else.
Sepp sent Adder a hopeful look. Forgiveness without words to accompany it. And though the fire that had brought them together lay dormant, this gaze spoke of something different. A friendship that had barely begun taking its first steps. A plea to continue helping each other stay afloat. But for that to happen, they would need to figure out how to get their head out of the water first. Or the sand, in this case.
So, where do I go from here? How do I get out?
Oh, that's easy. I'll get you out of here.
Didn't you say you couldn't?
I just needed to keep your mind occupied long enough.
The world began making sense little by little. Colors, shapes, shadows, and lights began falling into place as Adder's eye got used to reality once again. But somehow, he wasn't the one looking the most stunned. The number of people in the audience had, at some point, tripled, and they were all staring at him agape. Ilgrab's face was covered in dew. Not even Elbar could keep his jaw locked in place.
Y'all feeling all right there?
Dun, 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 dun.
Adder directed a brief, confused look at Sepp. She smirked.
Lad, I always knew you had the givings of a poet. But to think you had such words hidden inside of you!
This is impossible! How can a peasant, worse, a farmer like you, have such a vast vocabulary and nuanced understanding of the allures of the agape? Your spiel was beyond beautiful. It was absolutely splendid! But I purchased Jasif's affections legally, damn it! Her love belongs to me and no one else!
Did Sir Askadath just casually admit he's a horn eater? Are nobles allowed to do that? You think it's a court fad or something?
Nobles are allowed to do whatever they want to. They're nobles.
Well, don't waste
That's
time
one of the
looking,
perks.
lads. I'm right here if you want to be fashionable.
I don't care how many marks the nobles are.
Oh, God.
Still doesn't explain those hand marks. The witch must have charmed Sir Askadath to distract us. She's charmed them both. Burn her! Burn the Siffy or we riot!
You ever proposition an entire crowd?
Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
They do that last time, I don't think.
Lacking torches, the mob set their pitchforks on fire. They began walking towards Sep as they chanted for her death. Why do they have pitchforks in a city?
Why not?
You know, like literally they had to, in medieval times, they had to walk pretty much every time. They had to commerce, they had to walk from the town to the city carrying their whole stuff.
The thing that sucks about this is these are not the pitchforks that turn over hay. These are the pitchforks that are gathering animal dung on the side of the street.
Yes, these are the pitchforks for killing people you don't like.
Ada realized that there was only one way to save Sep and get out of this ungodly mess. Roofing.
Oh, hold up! Oh, what's this? My head! Oh, what's going on? Where am I? Oh, the voices of this rock-throwing, witch-burning, bloodlusting mob have opened my eyes at last! Oh, the spell is broken! I could think clearly at last! Patron, how could you do this to me?
What? How dare you turn on me,
Forgot about this.
This man put his hands on
All
me
right, Adder, you have
and
officially
cast a
done one
spell,
clever thing.
And oh, fire! Oh, fire all over the place! And next I knew, more than a dozen moons had passed, and not a contract in sight.
That is absolutely despicable! But how can we trust this truant? We only have his word.
That's not true! Look! The merchant's got hands! Witch hands! They fit perfectly fine in the mark, see? See? And you know what else? He's red! The color of fire! What more proof can any of us need, dear jury?
The only way to convince a witch-hungry crowd is to be a witch hunter.
Yeah! That asshat Geoff is right! The evidence is overwhelming! Why did we listen to a Sephi in the first place?
You're not getting out of here alive, son of Garthath! You hear me? I'm going to kill you! And then I'm going to fire you! You treacherous gilly wet hoof! You're fired! Fired, I say! Fired!
That just reminds me of that SpongeBob episode. And then, at his funeral, they fired him!
You're the only one who's getting fired here, witch!
And so, Geoff spearheaded the mob's effort to build a pyre, taking the merchant and Adder's sentence with them.
Take it from a deserter, Pops. Better lose your job than your life.
Adder, you're a sneaky little bastard. But you're a good sneaky little bastard. Thank you for helping Sep out, lad.
What in the actual name of Oblivion just happened?
Oh, Elbar. I told you didn't understand what a public trial would entail.
Indeed! It's obvious I clearly don't. I have failed miserably to channel the fickle ire of the masses towards the neck of this lowlife. But do you know which concept I have an excellent grasp of? Executions!
Elbar, don't be a sore loser! The town has already pronounced its sentence!
Listen to him, Sir Askadath! Revenge is pointless! Keep your head! You can still be a hero in my eyes!
This is not about heroism! It's a matter of honor! You have mocked me as you please, one-eyed scoundrel! But I shall be the one to have the last laugh! Die!
Elbar fell upon Adder with all the might of his cutlass as he screamed. His blade didn't cut flesh as it descended, but metal.
Stop this assault at once, Elbar!
Adder opened his eyes, finding an unexpected hero hovering above him.
Finally!
Bearbeth?
That's a
yes. The man everyone wanted to see. 100%.
Bearbeth had diverted the course of Elbar's sword with his parrying dagger, making his half-brother hit the ground instead.
What? I mean, my lord, I'm glad to see you standing, but I don't believe you're properly awake. Why did you stop me? Isn't this the one-eyed scoundrel that dared attack you in the first place?
He did attack me, yes, but he didn't do so without reason. I was the one who started the incident. This deer is innocent. I have come to pardon him at Ina's beseech.
By next,
what now? What did you do to my boss, Four Eyes?
by next update, I will have Tim Berwitz's voice actor re-record everything, because I don't know what happened with this recording, but the quality of it is so bad.
Yeah.
Like
it happens.
I didn't hear it until I was already donating everything back in 2019. But I was like, wait, what's going on? I was like, oh my god. But yeah, sorry.
Alas,
I
it happened.
merely welcomed her to my palace. Even after my hideous assault on her person, she found her way to me, seeking to share the news of your impending death. You are a truly fortunate man, Ada. Ina's loyalty may be the most remarkable of her features. But I digress. It would seem that I'd suffered a brief bout of amnesia following the blow, prompting me to disregard her at first. But her arguments were so swaying that I could not bear to remain idle another second. I had to put an end to this injustice.
Then this venison's claims were true after all? You attempted to dishonor a doe?
Well, I wouldn't say, dishonor or doe, but the point stands. Blinded by my insatiable curiosity and my need to be right, I gave in to my impulses and acted in a completely unforgivable way. I would have absolutely struck myself given the occasion. Not quite as hard, however.
I am beyond befuddled by this turn of events! What would you have me do, my liege? I have already drawn my sword dramatically at him!
Dramatically?
Oh, let it be! Throw your sword against the pavement, or curse the skies with it! It will make no change to the fact that it was no deer's fault but my own. And perhaps his a little.
Mr. Bearbith,
There is nothing to be said, friend. Truly, I should not have insisted so stubbornly. I still don't believe that Aina could be anything remotely alive in the traditional sense of the word, but I believe firmly that my behavior was out of place. An apology is the least I can offer. Besides, Aina promised to let me explore every nook and cranny of her body if I came here to help you. Look, I have the signed note right here. Oh, I can't wait to follow up on my previous discoveries.
This one sounds nicer. That's weird.
Ada didn't manage to take one single step forward before Illigrab lifted him off the ground.
Ada, no! Think happy thoughts, but not too happy. Think about our lessons on the importance of self-determination and the dangers of infantilizing women!
Right! Yeah! Saving me was mighty kind of her. If she wanna keep promises and do something like that, that's her business. Give me a moment, I think I'm gonna throw up.
Adder tumbled away toward a discreet corner, holding his hands over his whole face. Elbar did much the same, but in the opposite direction. Illigrab followed suit to make sure he didn't change his mind.
Oh, and speaking of discoveries, hello, dear. What's a specimen like you doing here?
Hello, nice.
Dev's tail
you
sprang
already-
up in horror as Burbeth began walking in circles around her.
Lord Askadav, it's an honor to meet you again. Perhaps your memory is a little fuzzy after the incident. We already met some moons ago, remember?
Oh, that is absolutely preposterous! Concussions rarely affect long-term memory, and this is far from the worst blow I have received. You must be mistaking me for some other hornless deer. I assure you, I would not forget a frame like yours quite so easily. I had read about large gazelles during the heyday of Besaxerat, when food was abundant and the vast majority of tasks were carried out by golems. But I never thought I'd get to see an overweight Barhan with my own eyes. Ah, what a delightfully quaint sight. You could even pass for a doe. I have to admit that you do look somewhat familiar, though. Ah, I see. You must be Elbar's kitchen maid, correct? Oh, I understand now. Someone's been sneaking into their master's pantry.
Everyone left in the plaza turned around upon hearing the slap. Everyone except for Burbeth, who lay unconscious on the ground once more. Sepp just stood there, her hand still held midair.
Safe! What is the meaning of this?
Sir Askadath, this is not what it looks like. It wasn't me, it was... Adder! What did you do?
Say what? Don't look at me! I was just puking my guts out over here!
Inside my mind, you walking pile of servine dung! What did you do to me?
Oh, well, I just, I had to make my way out somehow. I saw this wall and it was about to fall, so I just gave a little push and... Let me guess, that was your patience? Am I right? Boy, oh boy, do I got a good eye for these things or what? This is why we don't mess with people's minds.
Adderson, son of Gurfath, I would strangle you with my own hands if I wasn't so convinced that your brain hasn't received any oxygen in a decade!
Babe, how could you do this to me? I was willing to forgive your bizarre infatuation with this room. I could have forgiven this offense you cast upon my house, but how dare you lie so brazenly, woman? I saw you slap my brother with my own eyes!
But I didn't want to do that. I mean, I did, but there's a perfectly sound and valid explanation for this.
Tell you later!
No! I have to...
Betrayal! A knife upon my heart and soul! This treachery shall not stand, Jasif! Guards! Fetch them!
Marabunta of guards threw itself over the runaway couple at Elvar's command. A group of them outran the rest quite easily, leaving Adder and Sepp completely flanked, but not yet stopped. These guards that moved with feet light as the wind kept showing up where Adder least expected them, herding the two into one many alleyways that surrounded the bazaar. And then they ran faster yet, forming a wall blocking the entrance to the only escape path left. Adder didn't dare break his run as he approached the spear wall. Surrounded from every angle and with a dozen guards chasing him, he could only run forward. But he didn't get impaled. The guard line in front of him separated, momentaneously into two groups, letting them pass into the alley completely unharmed. One of the spearmen yelled something as Adder and Sepp crossed the line, something that was definitely not Cyrenar. They regrouped in a second, closing the entrance to the alley before the rest of the guards crashed against them like a wave of helmets and spears.
Did they just...
Adder couldn't finish the sentence, for he never learned from his worst flaw. He forgot to look ahead, and so he ran headfirst into a wall, one he couldn't break with his head. One made of fur, armor, and gleaming eyes.
Boss?
The weather's changed a lot while you weren't looking, puppy eyes. I'm your boss now.
Snizzle snap, she's hot.
Hot.
Hi.
Oh my.
Hey, Jonas.
Have come hunting.
You came in right at the end, Jonas.
I know. It's fine. I just wanted to be here for it.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Hey, Maxi.
Yeah.
So, is chapter 4 the last chapter?
That depends, because I'm about 60% done with it, and it's already longer than chapter 3.
Can't imagine what it feels like to be making something that turns out to be longer than you expected it to be.
Yeah.
You mean every project I've ever started?
Oh, let me make this fun comic about these two characters called Peanut Butter and Jelly. It'll be a fun little thing I do for a bit. 15 years later.
Yeah.
And then heaven and hell were fighting over the...
And there's this poem Marion with magic tricks.
Heaven and hell were fighting, but it was like a goat dude and a dragon, and there was a Griffin there as well.
I feel that.
And there's these cats and ducks keep
Good
dating
times.
and snuggling.
Good times.
Advancing on stop
What if
gushing.
you made a thing about a witch girl that doesn't like wearing clothes?
I mean,
You know, what if we made like one image of that? What if we made another image? What if we tried to come up with lore? What if?
yeah, the lore is where I started, where it started getting away from me, isn't it?
Remember, kids, lore, Not even once.
Not even once.
By the lore, by the lore.
Well, I'm
Where's the mall group? MAWL, Mothers Against Writing Lore.
Nice.
I've never heard that one.
Oh, credits.
Oh, credits.
Yes, everyone leave. If you buy my game and you don't leave a Steam review, I do not trust you.
I'm Maxi's game. I'm Maxi's game. Support. We need to
Sandra,
support-
Maxi, Molina, Juan.
We need to support.
You tried.
independent creators. It's so important.
That's about half as many names as I usually see in Hispanic or Spanish people.
What? No, that's Sandra, Molina, Juan. That's the normal. Like that's the normal amount of names. Like Molina, Juan are my surnames. In Spain, we have 2 surnames.
Okay.
It's like paternal and maternal, right, or something like that.
Paternal, maternal. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I must be thinking of a different culture then, where it's just like every single uncle and aunt.
No, yeah, that's I do know like Arab cultures do have like very very long names because they come from a very long pattern. Like your father and your father's father and your father's father's father, and then like you can have like if someone was like the wise, the clever, the whatever, and then if they came from, I don't know, from Malaga, from Medina, from wherever, like they get very long. But no, yeah, in Spain you have name, maybe a second name, first surname, second surname. In fact, my second surname is pretty rare, but that's about it.
Okay.
Submergent guard?
Guard? Oh, sure, yeah. There's a lot of people involved in making stuff for the game.
Yeah, there usually are, aren't there?
I don't ever want to pretend that because I am a solo developer, there aren't more people. Like, it's like just because I'm making 90% of the game, I don't want to be like, oh, it's made alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those out there. It makes me mad.
Hey! Look at that! Who's in that legendary patrons list?
Who's that guy?
I don't know. Some dork.
Who's that guy?
Do you know? Wait, do you guys know Charles Elliott?
Yes, that's who we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
The Charles Elliott, the one and only.
Yeah. See, who do I know on that list? There's me. Yeah, me.
Oh, you know you, Jonas?
I do know me. We hang out too much. There's Diego, B&B. I know that dude. I don't know who the rest of these guys are.
Pity Yindy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Pity.
Pity's great. I love Pity so much.
Pity does some great work.
Yeah.
Everyone should be following Pity all the time. Give Pity money. Give Pity all the
Yes.
all the time.
Agreed.
Then, yeah, like that's everyone who's ever given me money, not the people who are giving me money right now. Because that's I wish.
So people would ever believed I could be anything girl. I'll take that. I ended up spending half a decade making a game of my own.
I decided that my acknowledgements were going to be fuck y'all.
It's midnight now.
Okay. Well,
It is midnight.
One more quick thing, Rick. Everybody in the audience, please, big round of hand clap emojis for the Hayseed Knight, huh? Huh?
Yes, 100% agreed.
Yeah.
We love us some Hayseed.
Thank you, thank you.
And thanks for the Raiders coming in and seeing our stream tonight. Thanks very much.
And thank you, Maxi, once again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for making this game. Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memories, loyalty, and honesty. Friends forever through thick and thin.
Okay.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.